make it to the next slide, we'll get started. All right, first I wanted to just talk a little bit about the definition of a transfer student. That information has changed in this past year. The UNC system really has put some parameters on it, and we're really looking at it all in the same way for the most part in the UNC system schools. And really, a transfer student is a student who has graduated from high school and has attempted some kind of coursework. So that's how we define a transfer student. They may not even have credit under their belt yet. So, you know, when you talk about a student who is attempting coursework and doesn't have college credit, then we're really going back and looking at their high school credentials. That's the key. And so it really, you know, we're looking at them in a way that we would look at them as a first-year applicant or a freshman applicant, but because we don't have the college information to be able to use. Summer coursework after high school, I wanted to mention that. If a student continues to take summer coursework after they graduate from high school, we're not going to consider that coursework as part of the college coursework that we would review. That's still considered high school. So that's something to keep in mind. I know I have some students sometimes who want to take a really full summer load after high school and hope that that's going to kind of get them where they need to be, and they really need to be thinking about taking that coursework in the fall. Students in progress of coursework, you know, this is really that student that has graduated from high school and is in progress of coursework. And it's really, here at Appalachian, we do a spring term. So we have lots of transfer students who now fall into the spring term, and they are in progress of coursework. They finished high school, and there again, since we don't have the college coursework to be able to consider them, because we make those decisions before they complete their term, we're going to fall back and look on their high school credentials, their high school grades, which play probably the most important role, and then standardized test scores. And they really need to be competitive with our freshman class. So that we have a lot of great information about averages online. Sometimes in the spring they can be a little less competitive. This is the kind of student that I really want to work with, you know, individually. So, you know, please always send these students to me, and I can help them even before they apply to see if they would have a chance of admission for spring, and then can advise them on whether to apply or to keep working on their coursework and maybe come in the fall. You know, and again, students with less than 30 hours, here again, we're going to fall back on the high school credentials to look at these students. But a student that's coming with less than 30 hours still may have a semester of college credit that we can review. So, you know, that student may not need to be quite as competitive with their high school credentials as a student who has no college coursework. So it's all it's very holistic, I guess, is the best way to look at it when you have students in these grayer areas without the 30 hours. And there again, send them my way. I would love to work with them. And of course, if you have your traditional student who's coming in with at least 30 hours or more, if they're going to work on an associate's degree, you know, we're only looking at their college level work. The high school grades and the standardized test scores don't come into play at all. So when we can get at least a good semester of coursework under their belt that we can review, and then we know they're in progress of another good semester that's going to get them to 30, that's when we feel like, okay, that's a student that doesn't have to have high school information to be able to be decisioned. And that's the traditional transfer student. That's the way most of our transfer students come in, but you know, definitely we get more in some of those other areas too. So I hope that helps break it down a little bit. All right, so just to go into a little more depth about just that traditional transfer admissions criteria, students need 30 transferable hours. They can be in progress of some of that coursework. We need to see at least 12 transferable hours of credit on a transcript for review, and then they can be in progress of the rest of the coursework. If they want to come with less than 30 hours, then we really need to see SAT or ACT and the high school transcript. Those two items will help us. If they're competitive, then that student can come with less hours than 30. And it's a formula, and it's really based more on strong high school grades. We really put the emphasis on the grades because that's the predictor of success, and that's why we do it. Really, is just we want to make sure they're going to be successful, and if they've been a good student in high school, there's a lot of data out there that shows that they will do well in college. The minimum GPA for transfer students is a 2.25 for college level coursework. And if a student applies when we have plenty of space, and they have at least a 2.25, and they would have a good chance of admission if they have the hours that they need as well. Our average GPA is really higher. It's a little over a 3.0. And then students, of course, still need to apply when they have 12 hours of graded coursework that we can review. Once a student is complete and that we have an online app, we'll actually look at this in just a minute, and and all their documents, then it's a 2 to 4 week process to hear back from us. And they first see their decision in their MyApp account, and then they get a letter shortly following. Applying early is always better. Our applications right now are open for the summer, 2 summer terms, and then the fall term. So students this is a great time to apply. This is our highest, one of our highest months of getting applications in. So it's really important for them to go ahead and apply just to make sure that they can get complete when we still have plenty of space. All right, so we do have some suggested dates for transfer applicants. We just implemented these. February 15 would be the suggested deadline date for summer and fall terms, and then October 15th for the next spring term. And really, we've implemented these just to help students. We want to make sure that they have opportunities to apply for scholarships and apply for housing, which is not guaranteed for transfer students. Most of the housing is available in the fall. You never know if housing is going to be available in the spring. That's sort of we have to see each spring. But these dates really are important for students who are going to apply for scholarships or housing. We just implemented these dates this year, and we actually had a huge increase in our applications. Students look at the website, and and probably you guys maybe gave some information out about this too, but it really made a big difference, and I think a lot of students have applied earlier this year, so we're really happy about that. And it's really something we did for the long term. We're really hoping to see that students will apply earlier for the long term, and I think it's only going to help them get their classes when they register. We just are trying to avoid students admitting students in the summer when a lot of the courses have already been snagged, and we want them to have a good experience. We want them to get their classes earlier, so I think this is really going to help take care of that, we hope. But it's still, just know that these are suggestions. It's still rolling admission, so we're admitting students until the class is full. So, I had a lot of questions about that this year. Even though we had information about it, you see those big deadlines and you don't read under it. But yes, we're still admitting students, and we're going to admit them until the class is full, just like we always have. But we're just trying to push more people to apply early. All right, and so a completed application includes applying online and then paying the $55 application fee. We do have a fee waiver on our website. If you go to admissions.appstate.edu and then you click how to apply, you can find the forms on the left-hand side, and the transfer fee waiver is right there. So if the student is using financial aid at their current institution, they should be able to use the fee waiver, and they wouldn't have to pay the $55 application fee. They just need to get the fee waiver signed by either you, their counselor, or their advisor, or someone in financial aid. And then they can also run their SAR report, and that will allow them to have the waiver as well. And then we need all college transcripts to complete the application. That includes any college they've attended, even if those courses are showing up on their current institution's transcript. We're going to need all official coursework from all institutions. And then only if they are trying to come with less than 30 hours would we need the official high school transcript and the standardized test course. All right. I just wanted to briefly go over our readmission policy and our forgiveness policy. We've made a big switch at Appalachian. We now used to call it returning. Now we're calling it readmission. So students who went to Appalachian and are coming back, they're using the readmission application. And it's now all at the registrar's office. It used to be partially at the registrar's office and partially in admissions, and I think it's a lot easier now. But they have a great website. So if you go to the registrar's website, registrar.appstate.edu, you can see the suggested application deadlines for readmission students. It will talk about who should apply for readmission, academic eligibility. There's great information. For students who left not in good academic standing, there are 2 forgiveness policies. And so they can use 1 year forgiveness if they have 30 new transferable hours of credit. And then they can use 2-year forgiveness as a stop out. And they can either bring back some credit with that or not. They always have to have at least a 2.0 to come back and use forgiveness. So again, that website, they've tried to make it super comprehensive. There's a readmission@appstate.edu email that they can use. So I think that would be a great thing to push students to that website. I think they've got a lot of great information. All right. We did have some folks who were interested in our conduct policy, so I just wanted to go over that a little bit. Students, the whole UNC system has a policy about student background checks. So it's all done very systematically within the UNC system. Basically, students ask or answer questions on our application, and about conduct. And if they indicate something that we feel requires a background check, then additional information may be requested. Again, the background check, there's a form from prior or current institutions, just depending on what they suggested. Sometimes the student has to go to our conduct review committee, which is comprised of faculty and staff all across campus. The conduct review process can take longer. So definitely if the conduct review committee meets twice a month. So the student has to have their information in, and then it has to, if it does have to go through the conduct review committee, then it could take a little bit longer. And we don't really review these students for admission unless they are cleared from conduct. So that's really important. But every student is able to appeal. They will receive a letter that explains, it's a 30-day allowance to appeal their decision. So they get information on that too. So I hope that helps a little bit to understand the conduct policy. All right, I did want to mention just a few upcoming events. We have a Multicultural Transfer Student Day on April 13th. So any students that you think would be a great fit for that, please encourage them to register online. There's a lot of great information if you go to it there again, admissions.appstate.edu, and just click the visit tab. They'll see the link for Multicultural Transfer Student Day. We do have limited pickup and drop-off locations for students. So they actually, some of them are at community colleges. There's one at CPCC, there's one at Gaston, there's one in the Winston-Salem area, but they can drive their car to those drop-offs and then not have to drive all the way in, and we'll pick them up and then bring them back. So we also have our open house coming up on April 22nd. It's a great way for students to talk to departments while they're on campus. There are transfer-specific sessions that they can attend. And of course, we always have our transfer track visit sessions most Tuesdays and Fridays when our classes are in session. We've had big groups this spring. We've had a lot of interest, and it's just a good way for them to come and take a tour of campus. We always have a transfer student mentor on the tour, so they actually get to walk the campus with a current transfer student, and we do a presentation that gives them more information as well. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to help. So please, feel free to send a chat if you have a question or just ask. So love to work with you. So thank you so much.
Okay, do we have any questions for Jane at this time? If you do, then you can just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. And as I said, there will be some at the end of the presentation to ask any questions you may have also. You can always send it in the chat too, and we have been watching that as you guys saw. I know there was a few people that came to us a little bit late. If you haven't done so already, please let us know where you're coming from, what community college you're at there in the chat box. Okay, so Matt is asking, can you explain about recent high school students taking courses over the summer after graduation, Jane?
Okay.
Let me give you back here.
All right. Myself, there you go. Okay, can you explain about recent high school students taking courses over the summer after graduation? Okay, that's a good question. It's confusing. One of the reasons that those summer courses are sort of included into high school, it's a buffer for high school students. If you had a student who was in high school and maybe and this has happened, I've seen this over the years, we've had a student who met their MCRs, but they were in progress of their minimum course requirements in high school. And, they maybe took an online math course, for instance, and just really didn't do well in that online course and failed it. And so they didn't pass, and they can't come to Appalachian as a first-year student unless they pass all their MCRs. Well, that's when a high school student can take coursework in the summer, and it's still considered part of high school because, they graduate in the summer, and I think that's part of it. It's been this way for a long time. I can remember this in admissions when I first started. But on the other hand, a student graduating from high school that takes courses during the summer. Now know that we're going to take any coursework, but it's in those few circumstances where someone might be trying to use summer coursework as a way to come in the fall. And I had that happen recently. I had a student who was denied admission as a first-year student. He just didn't have the credentials. And so, I was encouraging this student to come as a transfer student. Well, what they wanted to do, he'd already taken some transfer coursework. And so they wanted to try to get his 30 hours by taking his courses in the summer. Well, we couldn't allow him to take summer coursework to be admissible for a term where he was denied as a first-year student. We just don't switch back and forth like that. So what I had to encourage them to do, he could still take summer courses, but he needed to take some courses in the fall and maybe consider coming in the spring. So I hope that helps, Matt. I know it's kind of confusing. Is that a little bit better? Thank you. Okay, and just if you still have questions, please let me know.
Okay, do we have any other questions for Jane? Okay, well, if not, we're going to go ahead and move on to Jane, and then we'll get started with the next part. Okay, we are going to move on into some more advising information. As most of you know, Jane and I work very closely together between admissions and advising to really assist our students. So we're glad to be doing all this information at one time. As I mentioned in the flyer, we are going to concentrate a little bit more on the early college high school students that are coming to the university. We're seeing quite a few things with these students, and I'm very excited to see that there are a few early college high school advisors here with us today. One of the big things that we're seeing is that the students are coming to us with a lack of career and major knowledge. A lot of the early college high school students are coming into us as undecided majors, and that can be a little bit of a detriment to them, just for the simple fact that they're coming in with junior status. Most of them come in with an AA or AS complete, and as a junior, they're needing to start in on their major coursework. So that can be a little bit of a challenge if they don't know exactly what they want to do. Also, since they may not know exactly what they want to do, then the courses that they've taken for the AA or the AS may not be in line with what their major ends up being. If a student took accounting and economics and things of that nature, but decides they want to go into chemistry, that's not going to be very beneficial for them in the long haul with regard to the degree and time to degree completion. Also, we've been noticing a little bit of the academic preparedness, the course rigor. We are talking about, 17, 18-year-old students who are coming, out of the high school and the community college, and they may just not be quite accustomed to the course rigor of junior level classes. So they struggle a little bit their first semester here. And then, of course, the assimilation to campus with regard to age and maturity. A lot of these students do come to us, with a good deal of maturity, but we are still talking about recent high school graduates and the fact that they are 18 years of age and still in that mindset. And we are throwing them into classrooms full of 22, 23-year-olds who are very much interested in looking at, the major courseworks and things of that nature. So these are some of the things that we are seeing with the early college high school students, and some of the things I wanted to point out to you so that you're aware of some of the challenges that they're facing and that we are also facing as a university trying to assist these students through the process. So what are some of the things that we've talked about as a university that we would like to impart to you guys and assist you whenever you're working with these early college high school students? And, utilizing these tools is not just for the early college high school students. As transfer advisors, I'm sure that you have students that come into you and don't have a clue what they want to do, which is not uncommon. So any one of these resources would be a great addition to your repertoire of tools to assist the various students. Really, it's about early college and career planning. Whenever I was at the local high school doing the Career and College Promise program for our students, that was something that I really stressed. How do we get you to that point where you know what you want to do? And again, we are talking about students who have lived, again, with mommy and daddy for most of their life and maybe not have really experienced the real world and understand what it all means. I've used the ACT profile. If you have not used that recently, that's a great opportunity to go ahead and start students even whenever they're early on in high school. But then again, once they get out of high school and are transfer students and are looking at various careers and majors and do some career planning and college planning. I'm sure all of you have used the OneNet Online, which gives you the occupational network database for the U.S. Department of Labor. That's a great one. CFNC, I think all of you have probably utilized CFNC.org. That helps you plan, apply, and pay for college. One of the things that I really appreciate about CFNC is the free interest inventories. If you go to the plan tab and you go down to for career and then learn about yourself, that will give you about 6 or 8 different interest inventories that I've had a lot of success with not just with the early college high school students, but with transfer students also. It just helps to start that conversation. A lot of that is based on Holland codes. So however they fall into the Holland codes gives them the information with regard to career, job outlook, things of that nature, and the ACT profile does that a lot also. So two great resources. And of course, Appalachian's Career Exploration Office. They have all sorts of information about the various majors that we offer and then what kind of jobs the students can get from there, including job outlook and things of that nature. And if a student isn't sure and they know that they're coming to Appalachian, then our Career Exploration Office will work with them. We'll sit down with them to help them try to figure some of that out so that once they get here to campus, it's not just willy-nilly, what am I going to do? And then we have seen success with that. As Jane and I have referred students to these various tools, we've definitely seen that it's helped them try to figure out exactly where they're going to go next. So just a few tools, and whenever I send this out, these are linked, so you will be able to get to those links. And if you have any questions about them, please feel free to let me know. Okay, so one of the things that I mentioned earlier was advising. We're talking about advising for early college high school students, and we're seeing that, if they don't know what they want to do, then of course their AA or AS may not have included all the courses that they needed. But we are also seeing students who do know what they want to do, and they're coming to us without the prerequisite coursework completed. One of these that we're seeing is the BSN. Students coming out of the early college high school or even doing Career and College Promise, the dual enrollment. There's courses that they could take that could meet the prerequisite requirements so that whenever they get here to the university, they aren't having to retake those prerequisites and be here that much longer. So in working with the early college high school students, it's really good that you utilize the baccalaureate degree plans just like you would with any other transfer student. And again, we realize that these students are treading a very, very fine line, because on one end we look at them as first year students, but then whenever you're looking at the advising piece, we're looking at them as transfer students because they are bringing in so much transfer credit. So it's really important that early college high schools utilize the baccalaureate degree plans to make sure that the students are taking what they need early on, and that way when they get here to the university, they're not having to backtrack. I know I worked with a student recently who's going to be coming to us with an associate in arts, and she does want to go into the nursing program, but she hasn't taken any of the coursework she needs for prerequisites other than her chemistry. So she's going to be spending 2 semesters here just trying to get that prerequisite coursework done. And if you aren't familiar with the baccalaureate degree plans, which I think most of you are, but if you aren't familiar with them, then please let me know. I'd be happy to go over these with you individually. But as you see here, we try to list as much information as we can about what the major would require. And then as you go to the next page, it also gives you the courses that they could take for the additional gen ed and the other required hours. The other thing here is to consider is exactly when the student needs to apply. This is very similar to transfer students in use of time to application, when they need to be coming in. If a student is coming to us as an early college high school student and they do want to get into the BSN program, then they need to be looking at applying for summer, especially if they have all of their prerequisite coursework done. This is very, very similar to how you would advise for a transfer student and working with them to make sure that they understand all the ins and outs of course selection. When do you need to apply? Is there a separate application? For the BSN program, there is a separate application that is required. And so it's very important for these students to understand that just because you are applying to the university, that does not necessarily mean that you are getting into the major. I think this is important for students to understand whether they're coming to Appalachian, NC State, whatever the case may be. We all know that those prerequisites are a little bit different and those admission requirements are a little bit different. So I really encourage you as you're working with early college high school students or even any sort of dual enrollment students that you really stress to them, the importance of understanding when to apply, what those requirements are, and utilizing the various degree plans that are on the various university websites. Okay, so in thinking about advising for early college high school students, some things to remember. The AA or AS degree completion will complete all of our general education requirements as long as a C or better has been achieved. And stating that, our students do not take first year seminar. So when they come to us, if they have the degree completed, they do not have to take our first year seminar course. However, if the degree is not complete, even if it is 59 hours of the 60, we're going to require them to take first-year seminar. Now, we have had some feedback from our early college high school students stating that they would like to have something that's like a first-year seminar course that's more specific to them, and that is something that we are looking at incorporating for those students, because we do realize that there can be something of a transfer shock even with these students. Again, students are expected to start major coursework their first semester, so it's very important that they know exactly what they want to do, which, as we all know, can be difficult with an 18-year-old. That's why I really wanted to stress the early college and career planning, so that they can start having those thought processes early on and maybe make these decisions as quickly as possible. And again, the prerequisites for the major can be taken in the AA or AS degree, and that does go back to following those baccalaureate degree plans to ensure that the courses are taken appropriately and the accurate courses are taken. Official college transcripts are required. A lot of times we have students that apply as early college high school students, and they send us their high school transcript, which can get them into the university. But in order to get their college credit articulated and applied to their degree audit, we must have their official college transcript. We will not pull college transcript off of a high school transcript. If the degree is awarded, we must have a college transcript showing that the degree has been awarded, just like for any other transfer student. A lot of times we have students that come to us without that, and they're confused as to why they don't have general education met. But we don't have anything from the community colleges saying that this has been met. So we really need to make sure that that information gets to us as quickly as possible. And again, the college credit cannot be evaluated from a high school transcript, as I mentioned earlier, so it's important that they send us those official transcripts in a timely manner, just like you would work with a transfer student. If they've got college credit, have them go ahead and send a transcript whenever they apply with their high school credit, so that we can have that on file. We can update their courses in progress on their degree works audit, and we can make things happen for them. This will also assist with if they come to early orientation or anything like that, making sure that they have everything up to date, so that whenever they meet with their advisors, they know exactly what's going on. Finally, as these students register just like our transfer students, which means that they do early registration advising, and then they go through and register themselves for their courses their first time around. Of course, at orientation, they will be meeting with an advisor to go over everything for them, but if we can have their degree works audit as updated as possible, that will assist them in the registration process. So again, that goes back to them sending us those official college transcripts. So what I'm trying to say here, you're getting it, is in looking and working with early college high school students, the admissions process is different from a transfer student, but the advising process is very, very much the same, because they are still living in two worlds. And so hopefully you can help them navigate that very gray area, but if not, know that Jane Dowdy and I are here to assist with that, because it can be a little bit difficult to navigate that when you're going from first year to transfer in the blink of an eye. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to let us know. Move on a little bit. I did want to let you know that there are some changes coming to the university. We've got our health promotions changing to public health. I've listed for you the courses that they can take for that major. Math 152, they need Biology 111 or Chemistry 151. They need a nutrition course, they need microeconomics, and they need public speaking. So that's pretty much staying the same. The curriculum's not really changing. It's just pretty much going from HP to PH. Not too much difference. I put in the newsletter information about our athletic training program switching to a master's program. Students who apply for the program for the academic year of 17-18 will still be able to graduate with the BS in athletic training. After that, there will be a full master's program starting in the fall of 2018. So very important to think about as you've got students who may be considering coming to us for the athletic training degree. If they are going to be coming to us after the fall of 2018, or during that fall of 2018, they will need to look at one of our other majors, such as exercise science, health promotions, things of that nature, or public health, I've even got to get my changes right in my head also. I did want to let you know that we have a new rec management minor that's coming out in sports management. This is for students who are interested in coaching. It's going to be an 18-hour minor, and 6 hours are going to be offered online. That is actually going to be starting in the 17-18 year, but the 6 hours offered online will start this summer. So those two courses already are on our summer catalog. So if you have any students who are transferring and want to go ahead and start their minor and are interested in that, then tell them to go ahead and get hold of Jane Dowdy. Especially if they've already been accepted for the fall, then she can help them switch that for the summer so that they can go ahead and get that done. When we just found out the other day, and this part was actually not in the last webinar we did because we had just been informed that we have a new department coming. It's not really a new department, but it's a merging of two departments. So our Department of Geology and our Department of Environmental Sciences are going to be merging into the Department of Geological and Environmental Sciences starting 2017 academic year. So the prefix for that will be GES. So if you have any students who are interested in either one of those fields of study, then let them know we're going to be looking at a new department. I don't have the information on exactly what all the concentrations will look like just yet, but as soon as we get that information, then we'll put that in the newsletter and make sure that everyone is up to date on that. And then advising for distance education. We get quite a few phone calls about what are our online undergraduate programs, what are our programs at satellite campuses, what does distance education look like at Appalachian. I'm glad to say that distance education is being revamped a little bit, and I think that they are looking at adding some more fully online programs. As of right now, we have 6 that can be taken fully online. The career and technical education, and that has, I think, 3 concentrations under it. The child development, birth through kindergarten, communication advertising, communication studies, management, and then the RN to BSN. And of course, with the RN to BSN, students have to have the ADN complete. And there is a few extra gen ed courses that they must take before they can fully get into the RN to BSN degree. We do have a few other programs that are offered at our satellite campuses, including elementary education, middle grades education, special education, and social work. And then, of course, there's a plethora of other online degrees with regard to master's degrees and EDS programs, and we are looking at possibly getting an online EDD program starting in the fall of 2018, which I am very excited about. So if you have any questions about distance online, feel free to give them a call at 828-262-3113, or you can also send them an email at distance@appstate.edu. I think that we're going to see our online programs start to increase, especially as more and more students show interest in these programs. And we see that students are really wanting to do more online so that they can stay at that home base and get things done from there. So that's something that Appalachian is looking into. Okay. So do we have any questions that I could answer about advising? I know that all of you are fabulous advisors and have done a great job with all of your students. And I appreciate you allowing me to repeat a little bit of that information with regard to early college high school students. But I would like to go ahead and open it up and see if there's any questions that anyone has. And you guys can either unmute yourself or you can type it, whichever you would prefer. All right, did we do that great of a job? I'm going to assume we did a great job. Oh, there's Matt. Okay. With regard to math, would you generally advise not taking Math 143? Well, Matt, that kind of depends on the student and what their plan is. I would generally advise that students take Math 143 if their major isn't going to need any other math and they're going to be completing the AA or the AS. If they take Math 143 and have completed the AA or the AS with grades of C or better, then then we're going to take the whole degree and say you've met Gen Ed. Now, if they are not completing the degree, I would suggest that they not take Math 143 because it only transfers as a 3-hour course, whereas they need a 4-hour course for our quantitative literacy. Does that answer your question? Wonderful. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we're going to hang out for a few more minutes. So if you would like to stay and ask questions, you can unmute yourself and just talk to us. And love to see your face if you would like to do that also. Otherwise, please feel free to give Jane or I a call, ask any questions that you may have. And we will be sending out this information to you via email and also on the website. I will be sending out a survey in the next day or two, so please let me know any feedback that you have. And also, please let us know any topics that you would like to learn more information about. We really want to make sure that we are getting all the information that you need, and so the only way we can do that is if you let us know what that is. So feel free to ask as many questions as possible, and we'll do everything we can to assist. All right, Matt, we will add you to our mailing list for sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. All righty. So if there's no other questions, and everybody has put in their information as to where they're coming from, then we greatly appreciate you being here. And again, let us know how we can assist you as you assist students who are coming to Appalachian. Thank you, Jessica. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate all of you being here. All righty. All right, we'll give it just another minute or two, and then we'll end the meeting. Is Tanya still here with us? All right, Tanya, we're landing it. We will see you soon. Let me know if you need anything.